What up? Welcome to Homegrown Hustle, where local brilliance takes the center stage. I'm your host, Matt Eickman. Join us every week in celebrating innovation, guidance, and the power to inspire greatness. Let's explore the stories that shape our local business landscape, and together, let's ignite the spark of excellence. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Homegrown Hustle. I'm here with Kevin Remde. He's the president of CMIT Solutions of the Twin Cities West. He helps businesses with their IT security. And you've already scared the shit out of me based off the conversation that we've had. But I think it might be that type of episode with AI and all the evolution of technology and how fast it happens. Ensuring that your organization is secure is increasingly more important. So, Kevin, thank you so much for coming on today. Appreciate you joining us on The Hustle. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and how what problems you solve for businesses?
Absolutely. Thank you. So, CMIT Solutions, we are what's called a managed service provider, which means we work with small to mid-sized businesses and anything related to technology. So whether it's your computers, their security, your networks, your migrations, maybe you've got a server, you want to move that data to the cloud, we can help with that, manage the cloud infrastructure for you. Or maybe it's your network. I need to have a firewall. I want to make sure my network is secured. My workstations are secured with good antivirus and an EDR product, and patch management, also very important. So we do all the things, but the only thing we don't do in technology for a business is websites or any development. But beyond that, anything related to technology we can help out with. And we typically do that for those smaller companies that don't have IT. So it's 5 to 200 people typically.
So as I'm thinking about your business, I'm kind of thinking about it similar to my business, where like it's almost like a pest. Are the customers coming to you in that reactive type of manner where there's something that could have been prevented, or are they coming to you looking for some other type of specific service?
Number of ways they come to us. Yes, we've had customers come to us that had previously fallen for phishing email, for example. One company that unfortunately one of the employees wired a bunch of money because they thought they got the email from the boss who said, this is urgent. I need you to wire this to this. And they lost a lot of money because of that. So they needed to have some help with that. Other times it's companies that maybe they're not happy with their current IT situation. And in that case, maybe they have an IT provider, but that IT provider kind of grew a little bit too big to support the small customer that they have. So they've been non-responsive, not returning calls. One of my best customers, their previous IT company was still billing their customer, now my customer, for 5 PCs in the office, managing those. And those PCs no longer existed, but they were just sending out the invoices. So kind of a bad situation there. But they realized, look, these people aren't really caring for us. So they're just sending an invoice. So that's why they found me. Other times it is the companies that are finally growing to that point where they have somebody that's been doing IT. Typically somebody just sort of volunteers or steps up. And they were hired to do something else. And they probably should not be doing IT. So they come to us finally and say, look, we need a professional company. We need somebody to come alongside. We don't have to hire an IT person because that's, it'd be 10 times more expensive to do that versus hiring a company like CMIT Solutions that can come in. We can install our agents on your PCs. We can monitor and manage your firewall and your network. We can monitor for your antivirus. And when something happens, that employee that decides they're going to go out and find a free PDF editor and they download some tool and it turns out to be malicious software, our tools immediately quarantine that and give us an alert saying, hey, this was found. It's been quarantined. We can contact the user. Hey, let's be careful. So a number of different ways that we can support our customers in what they need. And in particular, like you said, security being huge right now.
So how's AI play into all this? Everyone's talking about AI and specifically I'm thinking like the newer risks that are there with the large language models and all the things there. Are there any things to think about that maybe people are giving information out that they are sharing with maybe competitors, stuff like that? Could you talk a little about the risks there?
Sure. Yeah, there's a number of things to be concerned about with regard to AI. Now, certainly we all understand the benefits, right? Being more productive, being able to get really interesting insights that you wouldn't maybe have thought of on your own. Interestingly, I'm not actually here. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, AI is I don't want to say infecting, but it's really taking over in what it can do. And the temptation that people have at an office, and this is a term we actually call shadow IT, where somebody takes it upon themselves to to go a certain direction that they know would be beneficial to the company, but they didn't really get permission to do it. And so they're using a free version of ChatGPT or Claude or whatever it is, and or Copilot. And they just go out and do this. And they take maybe a database of customer information, maybe it's private, personal information, but they use the AI to generate some kind of a report or something. And the problem with those free versions is that now you just put into the large language model that entire database, or all that customer confidential information is now part of the cloud. And now if you think of that, it could mean, and I don't know any examples of this, but it could mean that your competitor can also see that, or can say, okay, give me a list of this company's customers. Theoretically, very possible. So being able to know that that's protected and private, you do have to go with a subscription level, no matter what the large language model is that you choose, whether it is Copilot or ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, Gemini, to say, yes, we're going to buy this level of service and this subscription that guarantees that our information is going to stay ours. It's not going to go out into the large language model. So that's number one as far as AI goes and as far as security goes. But then beyond that, a lot of companies are trying to do this and they're just letting their people try it out. And they don't necessarily have a program to do it officially. And so one of the recommendations I've seen, and I like this very much, is that let's make it a competition. Let's actually, now that we have this secured model that we've decided to use, let's have maybe a steering committee that says, okay, every week we're going to get together and we're going to share what we've tried. And we're going to share best practices. And if something really sticks, maybe you get some additional help with it. And now you can become, or kind of drive some of this officially on behalf of the company so that the benefits can be shared all around. So I think that's one really good way of doing it. It gets people excited about it, kind of makes it a game to come up with the best solution or the best interesting AI example.
They're talking about it anyway, that like organizes it and kind of puts it in a controllable way where you can direct it and ensure security and those type of things. All right. What type of like blocking and tackling things are out there that low-hanging fruit, people can clean these things up and instantly make their business more secure?
I think one thing that people don't think about often enough is patching. Is making sure you get the updates from Microsoft or whoever it is for your workstations, because that has a big security implication as well. Yeah, it's good to have a antivirus, even better to have an antivirus that's monitored, and we have that, and then an antivirus tool that is looking at the system and its behaviors, and not necessarily from a list of known malicious attacks, but actually detecting this is the way these things should work or should behave. Oh, this service is actually stepping out of line and doing things it shouldn't be doing. So we can then block that. We can quarantine it. And in fact, we have levels of security that we can provide that have a full SOC, which is a security operations center, that gets alerted about that and can actually test or see, is this a known tool? Is this a known product? Maybe that was just a false positive. But better safe than sorry is really what it comes down to. So, certainly a good level of antivirus that's monitored for that is one part of it. But going back to patching, Microsoft and others, they come out with patches. Microsoft's typically is on the second Tuesday of the month. And many of those patches have to do with security, and they have to do with updates based on known vulnerabilities. Now, if you're the person that's ignoring those or not even bothering with those, or maybe you shut your machine off every night, and the overnight update doesn't get a chance to get applied, it doesn't take too long to be out of date or out of sync with the updates. So that leaves you vulnerable, and it becomes then a target. So being able to have someone monitoring that patching, and actually being able to work with the person saying, hey, look, your system needs an update. Could you please let us restart it or force that patch to be applied or something like that? So that's an area where we can be, because we're proactive about it, we can get alerts about it. And then we can work with that person to say, well, at least leave your computer on overnight for one night so we can get the patches applied.
But it creates efficiencies across the organization with just like little things that people don't even think about, right? Like as I'm thinking about like your business, like you've got all these processes and workflows that are defined for best practice on the most important tools that we use in business. And there's dozens of business owners out there that don't even think about it because we just grew up with this and it's kind of just part of existing right now, right? Yeah. But when it comes to business, now there's this asset we have and data becomes the value and the risk of that asset. So ensuring security, like that really becomes the business owner's objective, and like they have to ensure that that's happening so that like the risk mitigation down the line, it's like insurance, but not just waiting for the insurance to be the preventative. Like that's not the preventative measure, right? Like waiting for the shit show to happen doesn't make it less of a impingement or slowdown or chaos creation within the business. Like what you can lose because of the distraction. It's like pest control. You get a squirrel running around your office, like that slows down production a little bit. This is like that, but a lot worse.
Yeah, and I mean, I like the insurance example. I mean, we pay for insurance because we know the alternative could be much worse, right? Same thing with IT support and management and security. You know, I unfortunately have had people come to me, prospects that I'm working with, and trying to help them understand the benefits of the managed services that I've just talked about, the antivirus, the patching, the 24/7 support. And they say, well, yeah, you know, but we've been fine. You know, we just apply the updates when they come out, and it's not been an issue. And on that, a little bit of a tangent here, but on that subject of patching, and it's just fine. Well, sometimes it's not just fine. Sometimes it screws something up. And nice thing about a large organization is that they have a team of people that are testing or looking and making sure before they apply the updates that these are actually trusted and trustworthy patches. You don't have that as a small business. Well, with us, you do, because we've actually got that team of people that do the checking. And before those patches are pushed out to you, we've already verified that it's okay. It's not going to be that update a couple of years ago that screwed up certain models of Dell Latitude laptops and the network stopped working. Like, well, how do you fix that? you got to do some manual work on that machine because you can't get on the network. So yeah, so that kind of insurance is what we provide, because you can go ahead and say, yeah, I'm fine, no problem. But you know, the result of that not patching is that sometime one of your machines could get attacked. Somebody could get into that computer. They could do lateral moves to other computers on your network, eventually finding a very valuable data store, taking advantage of that, or at the very least, installing their own malicious agents on the PCs, and maybe participating in some denial of service attack at some point to some government. I mean, you don't want to be part of that network. But, you know, if you're the owner going, I don't see that, you know, I mean, that's not a good way to consider the security of your systems. And you, as you said, the data that you're responsible for, that's the company knowledge.
Ignorance is bliss, but it doesn't prevent the chaos.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that, because there's a knowledge gap there that the business owner has, and it might be a fear created type of thing, but for bridging that knowledge gap, like let's try to tee up a few of those things that if owner understood this, they might see the value.
Yeah, if owner understood this with regard to those kinds of malicious attacks and successful attacks, the cost, and I don't have numbers off the top of my head, but the cost definitely of being able to recover. And there's a stat, again, I don't have the number in front of me, but there is a stat that says what percentage of small businesses actually go out of business as a result of one of those attacks because they just can't recover. So that's pretty scary in and of itself. And it's a large number. But then to consider, okay, now we had to pay that ransomware. And so we paid to get our files unencrypted, that were all encrypted. I had to do it because I couldn't continue business otherwise. And there's no guarantees that the bad guys won't do it again because they've got a backdoor in there somewhere now. You know, better to be able to prevent that ahead of time than have to deal with that, after the fact. And then, kind of back to the insurance question, you should consider cybersecurity insurance if you're a small business. And in fact, your insurance company, or depending on the business type you are, and if you're a healthcare provider, for example, you have the rules of HIPAA or other compliance regulations based on the industry you're in. There's going to be a series of questionnaires that will help validate that you're doing things right according to either those rules or the requirements of the type of insurance you want. And in particular, I'm thinking about cybersecurity insurance. Really good idea to have that cybersecurity insurance because, hey, well, we got attacked. We had to pay a ransomware. Now we try to collect from our insurance company that amount of the ransom that we had to pay. But here's the scary part. 40% of businesses that report to or try to claim or try to collect from an insurance company will not get the money because the insurance company says, okay, well, here's the questionnaire that you filled out and you said you're doing this and this and this and this. These things would have probably prevented that attack, but you're not actually doing them. So you didn't answer that properly. Therefore, nope, you're not going to get the money.
Ouch.
Yeah. And like I said, 40% of claims are being denied. Now, again, some more value that a company like mine can provide is to be able to work with the business owner or whoever it is in the company that's working on getting that cybersecurity insurance and saying, look, let's walk through that. Let's check that checklist and say, okay, yes, no. And the things that you're not doing, well, here's a solution for you that we can get you there. The idea being the more yeses you put on that form, the lower your rates are going to be when you get that cybersecurity insurance. And then, of course, being accurate, the more likely. It
doesn't work when you need it if you put yes for a bunch of stuff you're not actually doing.
Well, that's the problem. That's why you want to talk to us, or you make sure that you're doing that accurately. So have someone that understands.
There's just such a knowledge gap between like what expert level actually is when it comes to decision making here. Yeah. A lot of like the people that are the boss or are in charge of that, especially at organizations like call it like 3 to 5 million and under, like they don't have the resources to have a full-time person there.
Right.
And they've oftentimes grown too fast that they haven't even thought about it until they're at that point. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it becomes a matter of where do you see the value and can you understand that there's some value in spending that additional money to get this done right? And that's where some companies are or some owners are saying, gosh, it's going to be an extra cost and it's just, it's a cost center. And we get accused of being, well, you're just an extra money I have to pay because I have to pay it because it's just something we have to do. There's actually more to that in terms of what we do, because we definitely want to work with the business owner to talk about not only security issues and concerns and making sure the tools are in place and the people are more productive because their systems aren't crashing or being infected and the people are being trained. That's another thing. Cybersecurity insurance wants your people to be trained. So one of the questions is, are you providing them security awareness training? And we can actually help with that. We can provide that. But it's meeting with the business owner also regularly and saying, okay, what are you trying to do to grow your business? What directions do you want to go? Are there any technologies that you're curious about, maybe AI, that you want to roll out in your business and in a way that makes sense for the people? We can help with that too. And so, we'll help secure you. We'll help manage you. We'll help you keep your people productive and your data secure and your network secure. But we'll also work with you to say, here's some things that we thought about doing. We're not sure how to start going about it. Is there technology involved with that? Oh yeah, well we can migrate this data here. We can provide this SharePoint site there for collaboration. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do to help
improve, not just create security, but improve output
and
help
efficiency
the within
grow.
the team.
Help the business grow. Help the people be productive.
Let's dig into some of that a little bit. Like, what are some examples of that specifically? Like, service-based businesses particularly, like how do you do that for a company with maybe like a dozen people in an office?
One really good example was a move that one of my customers made from a local server. So they had a server in-house. It was still doing Windows Active Directory. The PCs were all joined to that domain. Many of their people were remote, so that didn't make a lot of sense. It also made it tough because everybody had to have a VPN connection into the network in order to get to the files because it was also a file server. So we moved that company from the file server and the domain controller up to the cloud, Microsoft 365 using SharePoint. And they're big fans of Teams now. So all the data, all the files, everything that they do to work with on behalf of their customers is all done for the most part in Teams and SharePoint. All their workstations are synchronized to OneDrive, and all that OneDrive data and email data is all being backed up by us as well. So, by the way, you probably don't know this, but Microsoft doesn't back up your data. Neither does Google.
Good to know.
I mean, they make it available and highly available. And if you delete something or something gets deleted, you didn't expect it to be, 91 days later, it's out of that recycle bin because it's basically a recycle bin approach. So what we have is tools that will do that full cloud backup. We'll do it nightly. So if something does get removed, or maybe that employee that we fired a couple months ago, we got to get back into their mailbox, and that was data that's all gone. Well, we can recover that, things like that. So it's that sort of thing.
It's all the crap businesses don't think about until somebody says, "Oh, by the way, you could have done this," and they want to punch themselves in the face because they lost it or wasted however much time. Like I'm just thinking, like, how many questions do I not know to ask myself to identify if it exists within my business, whether it's an opportunity or a risk? Like,
well, yeah. And I was the one that went to that owner and said, look, we got to get you off this file server. We got to get you off this VPN type of connection for your remote employees. Most, again, very large majority are remote. We can set these machines up to be joined to the cloud directory. We can set these people up with teams. We can make sure that all the data is available to all of them, no matter where they are. And they're often visiting their patients, basically, the people they serve remotely too. So they've still got all the access to that information. They're using Teams not only for communications and file storage and all that documentation that they have and that they work with, but they're using it as a phone system too. So they've actually got it now set up so that each person that needs one has a phone number. That phone number rings in Teams, and they can place calls from Teams, and they can actually do text messaging in Teams. They did a lot of text messaging with their customers and clients, and they were all doing it from their personal cell phones. So the owner said, "No, you can do this in Teams. You're going to do it in Teams. We're going to make sure it's part of the company record."
Well, then you can track all that data and consolidate it, which I think, again, like if you don't know what the options are, you don't have any. And for technology, most of us business owners aren't exactly like at the leading edge of all that, right? So having a partner, I mean, the increasing importance of that with as much as technology is coming to the forefront of businesses, I see tons of opportunity there. I'm thinking about like the custom AI building side of things though, like that one. I think there's a lot of people that are working on little AI tools for themselves and they've got their own little whatever, but they really have no idea what they're doing and how it can actually help their team. So there's a lot of time being invested places that actually isn't generating revenue or return for those businesses, which is kind of funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the investment you make, at least initially and upfront, where you say, okay, what's the biggest and maybe lowest hanging fruit as far as what can save me time? And something that would take me 1 or 2 hours now can take me 15 or 20 or 30 minutes. And once you do a couple of those, well, okay, now you've actually got more time to invest in more or research more integrations that tools can have, more building of workflows rather than just doing the typical chat interface, but being able to set something up to automatically happen, or being able to tell it, hey, summarize my emails and tell me what I have to do today. Now I've got this customer database. Who are the most likely to respond to what kind of campaign that I'm trying to get out there as far as marketing goes, for example. Things like that. Marketing, of course, is really low-hanging fruit as far as the benefits of AI. But even in the sales process and in the HR, I mean, all the above.
So what type of tools could you build for businesses out there?
I'm gonna claim a little bit of being a newbie myself. I'm working on tools for my own business as far as that goes. I've already used it great results in terms of marketing and building web blog content, creating social media content, researching prospects in the area. Tell AI to go out and say, okay, now we're looking for these kinds of customers or these kinds of businesses with this many employees. Go give me a list in this geographic area or in the zip codes of blah blah blah. Find me those businesses, and you get a nice list from that. It's a good way to do some, at least initial list building. You want to do some validation on that, but a lot of ways.
Yeah, kind of some of the time intensive things, but after all that, a lot of it just comes down to what happens next with the execution. You and Chat GPT can come up with the most coolest idea that's going to change the world, but if you don't take that to your team and go and do anything with it, or it gets plugged into your company and it doesn't work how you think it is, now you got to fix that and all the ripple effects that happen if you're trying to bring things in like that. Like, I'm trying to do it the right way, which requires like high level experts, because I know the things I'm good at and things I'm not good at. And when it comes to tech, I think identifying the weaknesses there, and maybe there's some owners that have like a strong skill set there, but those that don't, like being honest, and if there's a goal or a vision of really going in that direction, like finding the right partner to help them understand the gaps that they currently have in their knowledge.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, it really is depends upon the owner or the manager, and they decide, look, we're going to go full steam ahead in AI. We know that we're going to benefit from this. All of our people are going to be able to benefit in some way from this. So maybe we'll create a steering committee that starts playing with this stuff. Maybe we'll encourage people to, okay, now we've got a subscription. Here's your account. Get in there and play. And think about your job and what you're doing, and then get together every so often, maybe a weekly quick meeting. We love to promote meetings, but get a quick meeting together where now we can share best practices. Let's have a contest. Let's say, okay, of this week's new solutions, which do we vote as the best one? Or even this was so revolutionary that we're gonna tell the whole company about
like
it.
the idea sharing and kind of creating a collaborative conversation around it, so you don't have a bunch of people going in all these different directions.
You got a brain trust in your company by the people that you have and the different skill sets and the different abilities, certainly, but the different jobs that they do. And they're all interested in a couple of things. One, making their own work lives easier and better and more efficient. But also people are, they like sharing and being proud of their solution. Right? It's something that I can say, hey, I did that.
Well, and with the younger generation, like they're using this stuff every stinking day anyway. They're already talking about it. This kind of allows more of a structure and format around trying to teach and leverage the tool instead of it just existing and like cool things happening here and there, right? Like AI, really, everyone's saying how transformational this tool can be. Well, where's the freaking manual on how to use it?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's kind of the gap that I see missing for a lot of companies that are trying to use it.
There is a tool set that I'm very soon going to be selling.
Sick.
I mean, it's an aggregation of large language models that are available as part of one subscription. So where it would have cost maybe 3 times more to buy ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and Copilot, whatever, but be able to say, no, I've got all access to these and for a lesser price, all from the same console, all from the same web interface. So that's one way to do it. And another beneficial thing about that particular company is that they have wonderful training. You go in there and basically, okay, I'm a beginner. Where do I start? And that walks you through. Okay, here's the different things you can try. Okay, now we're going to graduate to the level of creating an automation or some kind of a workflow. Because that's the step that a lot of people don't even get to. They just see the chat interface and they think that's all there is.
No, like the API layering on the back end of all the different pieces of tech within the tech stack. Like that's where techie people that are in business, especially in the service business, if they've got that tech background, they can absolutely crush right now because the gaps in space that they can create, knowing the API language and those type of integrations, like they can just make leaps and bounds forwards where guys like myself that have not the most tech savvy background, like we got to find somebody that can help us with that. Right.
Yep. Well, that's where that training I think is really useful too, because that becomes available to all my customers that want to do that.
That it sounds like Voltron of all the AI tools. Are you familiar with that cartoon from back in the day where all these
pretty old, but I'm maybe
well,
too
that's
old
what
for
it
that.
sounds like for all the different. Because I mean, there's a new
My kids
AI
might.
tool that comes out every day. Like there's the big ones, Claude, Chat, Gemini, but there's gaps and they're different in their own different ways, right? So bringing them together, understanding the weaknesses and strengths of each and being able to leverage that's like a superpower tool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, and it's always, even the tools that you already have, they're evolving. They're coming out with new versions. A silly, dumb example I'm sure a lot of people probably experienced recently, and that is my Gemini in my car. I've got Android Auto in my car. I've got an Android phone, and it's always connected to the Bluetooth there. And previously, if I click the talk button and I ask it a simple question, sometimes I get a good result, sometimes not. Same thing with Amazon these days. There's a new version that's much better, but I'm still using an old version at home, and it's just horrible compared to what I know is available now. And so now in my car yesterday, I asked, I'm thinking about, okay, this is great. First of all, I noticed the voice changed. I was like, okay, that's a different person. It was a female voice, now it's a male voice, and it's much more rich and natural. That was incredible, first of all. But then just asking it a serious query. Okay, tell me the kinds of tools, and I ask it specifically about tools for AI and for building integrations, and what do they cost, and do they allow this or that kind of integration, that sort of thing. I started asking all those questions, and it came back with really great, well thought out, as much as I can think, answers.
So some of my question about like some of these tools is like, if you're asking it questions that might like negatively impact that user's perception of the tool, can it actually provide you falsified and like misleading information?
That's the scary thing too, and you still have to be aware of hallucinations, where it will just make up stuff because AI doesn't want to be wrong. And I don't know if all the models are like that. I know I've experienced it. In fact,
how do you know if it's hallucinating?
Well, you have to. I mean, that's why it goes back to you need to double check the result. And eventually, I mean, it's going to be more and more trustworthy. But a couple of years ago, one of my technicians was trying to build a script that would do some automation on a PC. And he asked it to build a script, and it built the script, and it gave him the script. And he said, this thing's not working. And so I took it, and I looked at the script, and it looked perfect. The code was great. But this one particular call, it was where the error was. It said, this does not exist. And I looked it up, and sure enough, that code doesn't exist. That call, that function name did not exist for this particular script language. But AI just said, well, it would make sense to have something that did that right here in the script. Yeah, it was beautiful. It just didn't work because it wasn't true.
So why does it make sense?
Well, it made sense logically in terms of the flow of the script. I looked at it, and I used to be a software engineer too, so I looked at the flow of the script and what it was calling and what it was intending to do. And it was beautiful, but it was not right.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Now, much less likely to happen today. Again, that was a year or two ago. But I mean, people are using it to build code and build really good code these days.
I just heard a story where some dude quit his job and thought he was going to be a PGA golfer because of what ChatGPT was telling it. Like, that sounds like a hallucination to me.
Well,
or like a silo, like it telling us what we want to hear almost.
Yeah. And there's people that are becoming dependent upon that conversation and that relationship that they have with the.
It's kind of creepy.
That part of it is creepy, yeah.
Even if it's like a nice, warm voice, it's still kind of creepy.
Yep. Yeah.
So
go outside, meet people, touch grass.
Yes, this is all good stuff. So you're probably a little bit more in the know as far as like the direction some of these things might be going. Where do you see like 6 to 12 months down the line, AI and changes within how that's being used in business?
Many more great examples, certainly many more improvements, many easier to use integrations between different tools. I mean, in my world, it's about a ticketing system and a CRM and documentation system and that sort of thing. So having the integrations work in a way that I can just talk to it and say, I need this from this, and then based on that, put it into this other data, whatever it is. So those things are going to improve, and people are going to be much more productive. But beyond that, the solutions for supporting my customers as well. They're going to be talking to. Well, I want them to talk to a person first of all, but that person on the other end can benefit from the AI. So I'm not of the thought that eventually my people are all going to be bots and they're all going to be talking on the phone and whatever. I mean, someday it'll probably come to that, and that will be available. But for now, I want my people to be able to be more productive with it, certainly, and to be able to,
make their lives easier.
Yeah, make their lives easier. This is a problem that we, typically it happens a lot. For example, a simple request we need to add a new employee, and so set up the Microsoft 365 account for that user, based on the type of employee they are, what license do they need, set up the workstation with their login. So set up a profile for them, get it all connected to Microsoft, whatever else they need as far as file server access or SharePoint access, OneDrive, all that.
If you can have a tool that does that, that saves crazy time. But I mean, the human element is the thing from a customer service experience that I'm always thinking about, like building that world-class user experience. For us, like I don't see us becoming completely AI matrixy anytime soon. Like the home service space, I see a lot of opportunity for improved profit margins and decreased costs of delivering service. So my line of thought that I was kind of thinking about as you were talking there is like, if AI comes in and businesses can create efficiencies and make things work faster and cost less to deliver it, does that mean that potentially costs and prices for services and things should go down then over time? Or does that just mean that these businesses are going to crush it even more?
Well, I think all of the above. I mean, it really depends on what your focus is. Are you simply going to increase your margin and for the benefit of the company, or are you going to be able to take that and be more competitive? You got to know that your competitors are doing the same thing. They're considering the same things. I don't want to be last to this game. I don't even want to be second. I want to be first. I want to make sure that if anybody's going to benefit from those efficiencies, it's going to be me, and I can actually get more business because now I can do it more efficiently, which means I can reduce costs to my customers.
And open the door for potentially greater customer acquisition, more customers that come through the workflow.
Yeah. And then, I don't know if Elon Musk's robots are going to be able to chase after squirrels, but maybe someday.
I mean, if they can, I might look at hiring one of them, but that better not be in the next 6 to 12 months here. No. That would blow my mind. And I think we'd be an iRobot, that whole, that's what that is. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's exactly what that is. Thanks a lot, Hollywood.
Or Isaac Asimov for that matter.
So anything else as far as key things people should take away from this that they can go and implement into their business to improve security?
Oh, I'll give one simple one we haven't really touched on, and that's passwords. It's still a shame that people they think, well, I'm just going to use the same password or some derivation of the same password all over the place. And the problem is you've got your credentials all over the place in different databases, different services online, and it just takes one of them to be breached, and they are. And then your information's out on the dark web and easily accessible. And so is the password. And so the bad guys will take that list and they'll go through the list and they'll try these different accounts on different other sites. So now I'm going to go to the banks and I'm going to go to the Facebooks and LinkedIn's and all stuff. And all using AI, right. So it can be done really easy and cheaply. And then, they're going to hit sometime, they're going to actually hit on a good one because you've used that same password. So please think about getting a password manager and using unique passwords, complex passwords on all the different sites. My first scare on that was when Marriott Corporation was hacked quite a few years ago now. And I was using a tool called LastPass. I still use it. I think it's pretty good as a password manager, but I was only using it because it was convenient. It was nice that it could fill in my password for me.
Tool.
But I still used pretty much the same password all over the place. And when Marriott got hacked, I looked and see, okay, what password did I use on there? Shoot, it's that common one. Then I looked through my LastPass database. Where did I use this? Oh, about 95 different sites. This is before I knew better, but I went through every single one of those. I created new passwords on all those sites. It's complex passwords, all managed in LastPass. I don't have to worry about knowing those.
Do you know how many passwords you have?
Oh, gosh. I don't. It's got to be 300 plus.
So a password manager should have the security. Does the different tools that are built into the search engines and those password managers, is there security there? Or
I wouldn't trust them as much. You're thinking about the browsers and their own ability to keep passwords for you. Yeah. I mean, it's convenient, it's handy, and certainly gives you the ability to do that sort of thing where you've got unique passwords now. So in that sense, it's a benefit. I kind of like something that's a little bit separate from those. I don't necessarily trust the makers of the big browsers.
You know better.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of times it comes down to who's the customer or who's the product, right? And if you're not paying for the service, you're the product. So your information is valuable to the companies that collect that information. But
information is power if
Absolutely.
You know what to do with it.
Yeah.
You've got the resources behind it, and
there's some amount of privacy that we all give up, by trusting these services. I know that, Google and others probably are tracking me wherever I am as long as I got my phone in my pocket, right?
Yeah.
But, am I willing to give that kind of privacy up for the services I'm getting? Yeah, to some extent.
It's definitely the cops for sure, but that's kind of part of the whole Big Brother thing and what you'd sign off for when you click those little boxes at the bottom of all the acknowledgments and stuff. However, ignorance does not remove any of the effect it has on your life and your business.
Yeah.
So spending time and educating there and taking next steps, even on some of these smaller things, especially for you guys that are younger, growing your business and kind of just getting started, don't just overlook this because you got 3 or 4 estimates you're working on that you got to get to. Your customer data and information is important. And just thinking about that now probably will be cheaper than waiting down the line and having that impact your business as you're growing it. So keep that in mind. Kevin, we're kind of getting to the back end of our time here. Appreciate you joining us on the Homegrown Hustle. Again, you definitely raised my blood pressure a little bit and scared the Probably
Sorry,
like
sorry,
a
not
good
sorry.
level, but like a good level of awareness there, I think is good, right?
Absolutely.
So rethinking some of that, you definitely got me thinking about it. But the name of the show is The Homegrown Hustle. We ask every guest one question. What's the word hustle mean to you?
Hustle means getting up early in the morning and doing the work. It's not about sleeping in. It's not about being complacent. It's always about staying on top of the technology. For me, the hustle has to do with learning and keeping up because it's so fastly, and quickly changing, and so much changes. And I've been fortunate in my life in technology to been able to be on a cutting edge where I'm forced to learn this stuff because I'm the guy that's sharing that information to other people. I was a technical evangelist for Microsoft for 14 years. And so that pushed me to always stay on top of it. And now I'm staying on top of it because I, first of all, love serving my customers. And if I can serve my customers with good information and with new tools and technologies that'll make them more productive, or even just insert, solving the problem for one person who's having trouble logging into their whatever account it is, that makes me happy because it makes them happy. So that's that kind of hustle. Always be available, always be learning.
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on The Homegrown Hustle. There's a ton of great information that business owners can take and use in their business. So guys, definitely go and do that. Thanks for all the support. Please share this with somebody if you think they could get some value out of it. Like and subscribe. That helps us out here at The Homegrown Hustle. We're doing a lot to bring more value to the community. So any type of support you can provide us, it really does mean the world to us. Thanks for getting out here today, Kevin.
My pleasure.
Have a great rest of your day. And you guys, thanks for all the support. Until next time, keep hustling. Hey, thanks for tuning into The Homegrown Hustle. It's been an honor to share the stories of local legends who make our community thrive. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Please stay tuned for more insight and inspiration. We got a lot of heat in the chamber. This is Matt Eickman saying peace out until next time. Get hustling.